painting to photography, from beadwork to woodworking, KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University presents Art Beat. Art Beat highlights the work and accomplishments of local artists from in and around Winona. Support for Art Beat is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Today on Art Beat, we're going behind the scenes of Winona's Frozen River Film Festival to take a look into one of the festival's feature films called Ripple Effects. The film Ripple Effects discusses the importance of clean water in Minnesota's communities. Water Over Nickle is an initiative by the Mille band of Ojibwe and allied organizations to protect Minnesota's natural water resources for generations to come. I'm Kristine Osorio, inviting you to join me as we dive into the depths of Ripple Effects with the Commissioner of Natural Resources, Kelly Applegate, on Art Beat. Art Beat is written and produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University and is made possible by a grant from the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
As always, please silence your cell phones or turn them off. And there will be a discussion after the film, so make sure you stick around. And with that, thank you so much for coming, and please enjoy the films.
Spring is rejuvenating life.
After the film played, a Q&A with filmmakers took place, with Kelly Applegate being one of the speakers.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can introduce yourself,
okay.
What film you did, and who you are and how you're involved.
All right. Well, Anin Buju Mesquasin, Indigenous Kaz, Magizi and Dode, Mississauga Gan, and Dun Jabba. My name is Kelly Applegate. I'm the Commissioner of Natural Resources with the Mille band of Ojibwe. And we are working to protect our water, our land, our people, the resources, and essentially our planet from the negative effects of nickel sulfide mining. And there's a nickel sulfide mine proposed by Talon Metals. It's called the Tamarack Mine, within just a couple miles of our community. It's threatening our waters, threatening our way of life. We've lived in a certain way with these resources for a long time, and it's hard to think that a proposal like this could come in and wipe out the way we live on the land as we've always known it. The two films were just incredible. And you know, mine was so short, but the second one was just amazing to watch, the beauty of that place and telling the whole story of their spiritual connection. I thought that was really cool. But I'm involved kind of on the production end of the Water Over Nickle film called Ripple Effects. 515 Studios is the production company that put it together. We filmed it over the course of just a few days during our sugar bush season, which is late winter, early spring. That's how I'm involved with it, and I hope you like it, and please go to waterovernickle.com and find out more.
Great, excellent, thank you so much. And I have to say, I was panicking backstage as I was looking at it, and there was it didn't fully expand to the thing, so I apologize for that for anyone who was distracted by it. What was the biggest challenge in making the film?
I think just the weather. It was really cold that day, and actually I was wearing this same jacket, so it's a little chilly in here too, but sometimes I don't know how I'm Ojibwe, and I've got some Norwegian and English and Irish in me, and they're all cold weather peoples, and I just don't know how I survive in these cold climates, because I like to be warm. In fact, I just got back from Florida today, and wouldn't you know it, the difference between Minneapolis and Orlando, Florida was 7 degrees today. They were like 20 some degrees, and we got up here and it was like 26 or whatever. It was just amazing. Of course, I go for vacation and it's going to be cold.
It follows you everywhere. So the question is, how are you using the film outside of showing it here?
Yeah, that's a great question. we put that film together for the purpose of educating people about the dangers of nickel sulfide mining. And what we really tried to capture with the film is showing water as its elemental form and where it exists and how it can exist and show up on Earth, whether it's evaporation from going up to clouds and then falling as rainfall, traveling through wetlands, and then moving into rivers and streams and eventually lakes, and then being taken up by our maple trees and coming out as the sap and turned into syrup that we eventually consume as a cultural way for our people and others that enjoy that too. So it was kind of showing, like, if you threaten water, it has huge effects, and thus the name ripple effects. It can affect all of us.
Great, thank you. Yeah.
Is this or how many films have you worked with or created before this? And maybe when or why did you get started in this media? Or either one of those, any of those?
Yeah. Well, being the commissioner of natural, it really starts with my role. I'm a tribal member for the Mille Band of Ojibwe, and I've worked for them for the DNR department now for 20 years. That's our natural resources department there. And my role as the commissioner of natural resources is a protector. So I protect our people, our all of our resources, and our way of life, our culture. And when the nickel sulfide mine was proposed, I knew I had to take some form of action. And really, I'm a very creative person by nature, and I thought, gosh, how can we show this to bigger groups of people? Because I do some work at the legislature. I testify for Friends of the Boundary Waters when they're protecting the Boundary Waters canoe area and things like that. And that reaches an audience. And then we have our website. That reaches another audience. But the filmmaking is really, really fun, and it's just someone tuning in, and they can learn about the issue. And so that's what it was. Previously, we made another film about manumin, or wild rice, and lo and behold, I never thought this would ever happen, but I won an Emmy Award out of that. So that was pretty amazing. Never in a million years would I think, going into my natural resources career, that I'd end up as an Emmy Award-winning movie producer. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and I really enjoy fighting for our planet, because we're here for just such a short time for our lifespan, right? And really, it's our charge to at least protect this sacred place and hand that down to those future generations so they have a chance. We can't just burn the planet up and let our future generations suffer. That's not responsible. So
yeah, thank you. And congratulations on the Emmy. That's amazing.
And maybe we'll get another with this one.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Love it. What other questions do people have? Yeah.
At one point in the film, someone says something like, there's never been a nickel mine that hasn't polluted, so can you say more about that? What is it about the mining process that is so inevitable and can't be controlled,
So nickel, in this case, it's a feature of the mid-continental rift that tore apart, the earth cracked and tore apart from the movement of tectonic plates under that great pressure about 2 billion years ago. That hot magma came up and left this deposit of nickel, platinum group metals, there's gold in there, there's other precious metals in there. And that's been down there for that long. There's water surrounding it, which is saturated with sulfides. And when you bring that ore up, you're now exposing it to water and air. And it hasn't seen that in a couple billion years. And what happens is it turns into sulfides. And those sulfides are what's really damaging. And when those get into, like for instance, water where our sacred manumin grows or our wild rice, that can start affecting how they grow. And you might not see it within a couple of years, but over the course of 5 years or a decade, you see a gradual decline in the fertility of the plants. They start producing empty hulls. Their root systems get affected and shallow. And then it's just a gradual decline. And sulfide has a real nasty habit of, it keeps kind of recycling itself. And once it's in there, the negative effects just keep affecting the environment. And it's almost impossible to remedy that situation once it happens. So we need to prevent it. That's the work we're doing. So
Yeah, Trisha.
I guess I'm curious, as a practical message for people of Winona or living in the area, what do you encourage us to do to help support your cause?
So this is 2026 is a really critical year because the public comment period is coming up around July. So what folks can do right now is go to waterovernickle.com, learn a little bit more about the issue. We'll have ways to get involved, whether it's as simple as just filling out a postcard and sending that in to a list of legislators or decision makers that might be involved in the process, or how to send more formal comments to the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, because they're the permitting agency on this. So the more help we have, the better. So waterovernickle.com is a great place to get those resources.
Thank you so much for coming and for the film is amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
After the Q&A, we got a moment to talk with Kelly Applegate to share more of his thoughts on ripple effects.
Hi, my name is Kelly Applegate. I'm the Commissioner of Natural Resources with the Mille Band of Ojibwe, and I'm here at the Frozen River Film Festival on February 1st, and we had a showing of Ripple Effects. It's a movie production, short movie, about the negative effects of nickel sulfide mining. The Mille Band is an indigenous nation located in west central Minnesota, and we have a proposed nickel sulfide mine within a couple miles of our communities, and it poses to pollute our water, pollute our land, and affect our people in great ways. And this film is really about how water moves around the environment. We show how it can evaporate from lakes, go up into clouds, fall as rainfall, travel through wetlands, go through streams, rivers, and lakes, and eventually end up in groundwater resources. And in this case, we're highlighting our maple trees, which take the water up in their roots. And then we, in the spring, our people harvest that as sap and turn it into maple syrup, which all of us enjoy, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
And that's what it's about, just showing that interconnectedness and how important water is, not just for us as an indigenous community, but all of the people that are here and members of the community and that live on this planet. Another thing I'll mention is our sacred manumin or wild rice. That the threats of nickel sulfide mining can really impact that resource. If sulfates and sulfides get into the water system, it can cause a decline in the rice and eventually kill it off. And that would be such a horrible cultural impact to our people, because that's a sacred gift from the Creator to our people. It's our story of how we ended up where we was a prophecy to say, go to where you'll find the food that grows upon the water. And our food found that to be, or our travels brought us to wild rice, which was that food that grows upon the water. So it's a sacred grain to us. We take great pride in protecting it and taking care of it.
and we don't want to see it threatened by nickel sulfide mining. Wild rice grows from a seed that falls into the water in the fall of the year, and then it regenerates every spring. So it comes up from that single seed, and then it has a long blade of grass-like structure that comes out in June and floats along the surface. And then as you move into July, that blade of grass straightens and becomes more rigid and stands up out of the water, and then that sends up a fruiting body, and that will eventually become wild rice, hanging from that around late August, early September. And our people go out in canoes, usually 2 people, 1 person sitting in the front with a set of flails, which are wooden sticks, and they pull the plants over and knock with the other hand, knocking the grains into the base of the canoe. And there's a person either in the front or back that have a push pole, and they're pulling through the rice bed. So they move the person that's doing all of the flailing and knocking, and before you know it, a couple of hours out there, and the canoe is full of wild rice, and that's brought in. Then more of the work starts with parching it and winnowing it, and separating the chaff from the grain, and eventually that's worked down to be able to be a dried product, and then it's stored, just how our people have done it for thousands of years. Wild rice is native to most of the state of Minnesota. There's places where it once was that it is no longer, and there's a lot of efforts by different tribal nations throughout the state to bring those resources back. But where the Mille Lacs Band is, we're fortunate to have very, very productive wild rice beds. And, part of this work with the threat of nickel sulfide mining is to make sure that those rice beds stay productive. It's extremely, like I was mentioning, it's a culturally important species, and the threat of nickel sulfide mining is of great concern to our people. So my role as the Commissioner of Natural Resources for the Mille Lacs Band is a protector. So I protect the water, I protect the land, I protect the people, and our culture, our language. So a lot of my work is in that protective space, and fighting for a lot of, what we would refer to as gifts from the Creator that might not have a voice for themselves to defend themselves. So I try to be that person who can defend these resources. So Ripple Effects really evolved from a creative, just creative session with myself and other members of the team at Mille Lacs. And 515 Studios did a wonderful job. We also work with a public relations firm called Beehive Strategic Communications, and they were instrumental in coming up with ideas and a storyboard along with 515 Studios. And we also consulted with tribal elders and what's an important story to tell here. And we eventually landed on, let's tell the story of water and where it shows up. Well, there's a lot of coordination that has to happen when you're producing a film. You have to make sure the weather it did cooperate, although it was a little chilly. It was just, it was a great day. There was just kind of overcast with some clouds, so we didn't have too much light, drenching the film and overexposing it. But, we had groups of youth coming in. We had an elder that we had to make sure was kept in a safe place and warm, and able to, make sure he had a nice comfy chair to sit down and be situated. And then we all had our roles in the production too. So we're trying to memorize things and think of the things we're going to say and the days before, and it's old school, like get in front of a mirror and this is what I'm going to say, and you just kind of practice, and so that's kind of how it all evolved. And there's a lot of takes that happen during the filming, and we would redo things a couple of times, and then 515 Studios would make some chops and edits, and here it is. It's a finished product. So the best resources are going to be at our website, waterovernickle.com. And they can also search for Water Over Nickel on Facebook, and that'll enter into the algorithm to be getting updates from Water Over Nickel in the future. So we encourage people to seek us out, look for us on social media, and certainly go to our website. And the critical moment in all of this is coming up in July of 2026 of this year with the public comment period, and we're asking people to get involved, and we will have resources on waterovernickle.com on how folks can contact their decision makers, legislators, representatives about the importance of keeping their water clean. It's not just a Mille Lacs Band or an Indigenous issue. Water is important to all of us, and we want people to speak up and have a voice.
A big hearty thanks to Kelly Applegate for joining us on Artbeat. To learn more about the Frozen River Film Festival, check out their website at FRFF.org, or for more information on ripple effects, visit waterovernickle.com. For more conversation on art, tune into Artbeat Tuesdays at 12:30 right here on 89.5 KQAL. For podcasts of Artbeat and other KQAL original programming, go to kqal.org. I'm Kristine Osorio, and we've just heard from Kelly Applegate from Ripple Effects here on Artbeat.
Artbeat is written and produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us on the web at kqal.org.